Alright, this video is about Blackbelt Kyokushin Karate versus Muay Thai. I was just uploading my videos and this is one of the recommended videos, and I clicked on it and then I watched it. It's only a 3-minute video and it's an interesting video, but there's a lot of things that I want to talk about, that happens in this video, and I recommend to take a look at this video. I'll put the link to the description section of this video. You could watch the video and then you can know what I'm talking about. But it's interesting, but at the same time, I have my feedback on it as far as like the safety and basically what the martial arts should be for, opposed to what it's turned into. And to give props to both of the practitioners. I don't know their names, but they both are pretty highly skilled. You could tell in what they do. So I give them respect for that. Now what happens is they're pretty much like doing some very dangerous sparring in a school or in a gym. Like there's mats and then there's people watching. There's probably like 50 people watching and somebody's recording it. Okay, and then now they uploaded it to YouTube and already there's like over 2 million views. So like that already is a red flag, for any martial arts school. It's just like, when there's more spectators, the more spectators there are, the more chances of it becoming very unsafe, and it's no longer for learning purposes. It's more for like ego purposes, and when there's so many people watching and cheering and instigating the fight to become more dangerous, is the two fighters are the ones that are gonna basically suffer the damage. Now aside from that, this is a video of an example of something where I think it's very dangerous and it shouldn't be happening. Not in the martial arts. This is very unsafe, and it's uncontrolled, and it's just unintelligent. Now these people, this is almost like a street fight. It's not a street fight, but it's almost like one. These people obviously are probably they're not getting paid money, okay? They're just fighting because they practice, and they're basically trying to prove themselves. Now there's a serious injury that happens at the end, and then there's also injuries that happen to both people. And who's going to have to pay the bills? Well, the people involved. The school may or may not get sued, but money's coming out of the pocket of both the fighters for recovering from their injuries, and then the damage sustained from the injuries. There could have been a concussion, or broken bones and things like that. Recovering from the damage. But first off, already what makes it unsafe is they are both in different weight classes. That's already very apparent. The person that does the karate is clearly much more heavy set, and it's not fair for a heavy set person to basically go full force against a person that weighs much less than him. That is just very unsafe to begin with right there. Now this has nothing to do with what style is more effective than what. I mean, at that particular instance, it's not even about the style. It's about this person just beat you because they're bigger than you. They weigh more than you. They have more power than you. And because you don't have restraint, that's the only reason why you won. Is not because of the science. It's just because you were born bigger. And it's almost like just competing to see who's taller. I mean, a person's taller, there's no competition. The person that's taller is taller. So when it comes to competition, I understand on the streets anybody can attack you at any height, any weight, any gender, but this is not the streets. This is supposed to be a controlled arrangement, and it's supposed to be like either a very unhealthy expression of sparring, or it could be an actual competition where they're fighting to win whatever. But basically at that moment, the weight class is already unsafe when there's no control. Automatically the person that weighs more is supposed to have more control in their techniques to not overly hurt the person that they're sparring. But at the same token, the skinnier person, the Muay Thai person, was hitting like really, really hard. Like he was pretty much kicking as hard as he possibly could. Like you'll see that these two people are going very intense. Like they're kicking as hard as they can. But another thing that makes it very like unsafe, or in a way unrealistic, I'll say that, you know, basically it's unsafe, but then also it's very unrealistic. So it's not satisfying any categories. It's not simulating a real fight, but then at the same token, it's a very unsafe way to spar. So part of the rules in here, they say there's no headshots. So they're not allowed to punch up, you know, to the face, which makes it extremely unrealistic, like to the max, you know. And that's like one of the worst rules to have in sparring, because then you're just training the person to just keep their hands down and to forget to protect one of the most vital areas that you need to protect. And if it's not the face, then it's also the groin area, because a lot of, not just this one, but other competitions, they don't allow, you know, strikes to the groin area. That's another thing that's extremely unrealistic, because that's another area that you need to learn to protect. So that is what I would say that is critical of this, is that the fact that there's no shots to the face is already making it extremely unrealistic. Okay, something else is that this is not truly karate versus Muay Thai, because the Muay Thai agreed to the karate rules. So once the Muay Thai person agrees to karate rules, which is no punching to the face, no Muay Thai gloves, no elbowing, no kneeing, then already it's not Muay Thai. So it's a Muay Thai person that pretty much is, you know, basically agreed to compete within the karate set of rules. So that is this is not properly labeled. It's not truly Muay Thai versus karate, because the Muay Thai person is not truly doing Muay Thai. You know, there's no ring, there's no gloves, there's no elbowing, kneeing, there's no punches to the face. It's not Muay Thai anymore. And another thing is, they misrepresented the label by saying Black Belt Kyokushin karate versus Muay Thai, is that it's not supposed to be labeled that. It's supposed to be more of this person A versus person B. You know, in accordance to, they're fighting accordance to these rules, to the karate rules. Person A versus person B within the karate rules. That makes more sense. So it's like Tim versus John, karate rules. So no punching to the face, kicking is allowed to the face, kicking to the body, punching to the body, but no punching to the face, no strikes to the face, no elbows, no knees, no ground fighting, okay? But it's improperly labeled. But I understand why they label it like this, so then it generates views, and it obviously worked because there's over 2 million views, right? But, you know, these people are not representing an entire art just because it's just labeled that way. And if anything, they're representing themselves, you know. And, you know, they could say, okay, this person's trained in this person's trained in that, but it's truly not Muay Thai anymore, because the rules are not Muay Thai. Now, if the karate person agreed to the Muay Thai rules, and they got the boxing ring, and then they got the gloves on, and there's elbows and knees, then it's going to be this person entering into Muay Thai with a karate background. This person with a karate background has agreed to enter into the Muay Thai competition with those set of rules. So you see, both individuals are bound by rules. The karate person's bound by his rules, and the Muay Thai person is bound by the Muay Thai rules, but then at the same time he agreed to try to work with, you know, to compete within the karate rules. So another thing is, you know, you see the Muay Thai guy delivering a bunch of really devastating kicks, but the karate guys seem to be able to take the hits. But at the same time, that is not what martial arts, in my eyes, is not what martial arts is about. It's not about taking hits. It's about precision in defending yourself and basically being so good that you just don't get hit. And if you do get hit, yeah, you could take it. But you're not supposed to get hit. Just because you could take the hit doesn't mean that you're good. Okay, you took the hit, but you still got hit. Okay, so that's like you take it to an extreme where, okay, you know, somebody's shooting you with a gun. You don't want to get shot at all. The person that's the best is the person that never gets shot. And then when it comes to a knife fight, the person that's best is the person that never gets sliced. You know, the person that's best is not the person who survived 5 shots. He still got shot 5 times. Okay, so taking a hit is, in my opinion, not a demonstration of skill. It's just something you shouldn't be hit anyway. And yes, if you do get hit, yeah, you should be able to take it. But, you know, another thing is the only reason he's able to take the hit is because the guy that's hitting him it weighs a lot less. If the person weighed as much as him or even more, he wouldn't be able to take hits. And obviously at the end, it shows he was not able to take a hit because, okay, this is another thing that's unrealistic. It's like the most effective methods of defending yourself when it comes to unarmed combat are punches. You know, the kicks are set up to the punches. The punches are primary before the elbows and knees because of the range. Yes, the kicks are effective, but really it's the punches that really take them out quick. You know, a person could take a few kicks, but they're not going to be able to take like punches that are basically delivered extremely efficiently, scientifically. And it shows at the end, he's taking all these kicks, but all it took was one eye jab to take him out of the fight, and then later on, it just took one punch to take him out of the fight. And it also highlights how dangerous a bare fist is, that from somebody that's trained, how it will just take a person out, and just one good hit will take a person out. You know, so if you had these American boxers box without gloves, all it really takes is just one good hit and it'll end the fight. That's how a real fight is on the streets. One good hit could end the fight. One good shot, one good stab could end the fight. One good kick can end the fight. In a real fight on the streets, it ends immediately. There's not all this dancing around and, you know, like doing these fancy kicks and, you know, this other thing this karate person did. I mean, it looked impressive, but he did like a jumping spin kick that failed, and then he fell onto the ground. I mean, it looked nice, but at the same time, you know, on the streets, there's not going to be mats to fall on. You're going to be falling on top of the cement. And if you're fighting against a ground fighter, the ground fighter would have just took full advantage of him at the moment because he was on the ground. So on the streets, he would have landed on cement. And then he would have been banged up by the cement, and then the ground fighter would have just took him down, you know, just you know, went right on top of him and just like demolished him at that moment. But the Muay Thai fighter just continued standing and let the person get back up. You know, there's more respectful in that way. You know, so there's just a lot of things going on wrong. Another thing is, what is a Muay Thai guy doing in the karate school to begin with? It's like, obviously, they're not friends. I mean, they're going hard at each other. You know, and that's what I keep talking about when it comes to safe sparring, is that you're supposed to spar against somebody that you know, that you care about, or your family member, or your friend, or just somebody who you can trust because he's coming from a trusted source. So meaning, if I'm a trustworthy person because I'm running the school, and then my student trusts me, then if I have another student that my other student never met before, automatically there's trust there because I'm there to arrange the sparring situation. Because I trust this person, I know that he has control, and then I trust this person because I know he has control as well. And on top of that, I'm there to monitor it, to make sure that things do not get out of control. So basically, it's supposed to be an arrangement where there is control. Nobody should be getting hurt to the point where they got to go to the hospital. Okay? And there shouldn't be an exhibition for other people to watch to see who, quote-unquote, wins. There's no such thing as winning in sparring. It's just learning. You know, and basically what happened in here is like it's turning into a fight, like a real fight. Almost. But it's not a real fight. But it's almost. So it's not a real fight, but then it's not safe sparring either. It's a very unintelligent way to spar, is basically what happened. You know, because in a real fight, you know, there's no rules at all. The person's really angry at you, he wants to hurt and kill you, and then you gotta defend yourself. And then anything goes. But this was not that. You know, and basically, they're not training scientifically. They're not training with intelligence. Even the Muay Thai guy, even though he had like really strong, powerful kicks, you could tell he didn't know what he was doing. Because he just kept kicking as hard as he could at the person as if he felt no pain, but obviously he felt pain because you see him limping at the end. You know, and every human being, no matter how much they make it seem like they're indestructible, they're all destructible. Because I don't care how many trees you try to kick down or how strong you think your leg is. You're still a human being and you will break down. So he was not kicking with intelligence. He was kicking with so much force, not paying attention to the way the person is going to block him or the counters, or just basically he kicked so hard that he hurt himself. So he didn't know what he was doing. He's basically trying to show off. You know, so he wasn't fighting scientifically. And the karate guy wasn't fighting scientifically because he was just taking shots. Hey, you know, you can hit hard, and then I could take a hit. So look at me, I could take a hit. And the Muay Thai guys, look at me, I could hit hard. And my legs are strong. My bones are strong. But then he's limping. And then the karate guy is like, hey, I could take a hit, but then he gets punched in the face one time and he goes down. So obviously he can't take a hit. You know, it's like the karate people get so used to sparring or these competitions with no punching to the face that their limbs are trained to be strong, but then their face is completely weak. And then you punch them one time and they immediately quit. You know, and it's like, that's the problem when you're training in a style that limits you. It's the competitions that limit you. Actually, it's the competitions within each style that limits you. The Muay Thai boxing rules is what limits you and prevents you from reaching your potential. The karate competition and its limitations and its rules is what prevents you from reaching your potential. The cage fighting rules and its limitations is what prevents you from reaching your potential. A true martial artist is not bound by any of these rules and limitations. They will do whatever it takes to survive that moment. And a true martial artist will not agree to enter into these unsafe ways of sparring. They will spar safely and they will survive on the streets when necessary. That's a true martial artist. But these individuals, in my opinion, are not true martial artists. They're just individuals that, yeah, they're talented in what they do. This Muay Thai guy looks like he's good at what he does. The karate guy looks like he's good at what he does. But they are sparring extremely unintelligently, unscientifically, very unsafe, and it's basically creating a very bad example for everybody out there. There shouldn't be a karate versus Muay Thai. That shouldn't have even happened. Unless, like, the Muay Thai guy wants to give up Muay Thai and join the karate school, and then he's submitted to a master, and then everything is controlled, and then he's learning the art of karate, then that's different. But here it's obvious. You got somebody coming in there, they're not there for the school. They're just there to test what they know, to basically show off like how superior their art or their sport is to the next sport. You know, and that right there is a very it becomes a very disastrous result. It's basically like having two people with guns going in a gunfight. Two people with knives going into a knife fight. It's too dangerous. You don't even want to go there. You know, just respect both styles Muay Thai, this person showed that, hey, you know, they train hard. Karate, they train hard. These are both very hard styles, you can see. And they're killing each other. And these are like two of the main styles that is very popular in the cage, because the cage is all about killing each other. So you see Muay Thai, you see karate, you see the jiu-jitsu, you see boxing, you see wrestling. They're all in there killing each other. They're not proving that one art is better than the next, because there's no such thing. It's like, which set of rules is better than which set of rules? Well, obviously there's nothing better than no rules, which is beyond any of this glorification of violence. You know, so like watching these videos, I mean, what I liked about it, they kept it away from the ground, they kept it standing, you know, and then they actually did like some really dynamic techniques as far as like the kicks were concerned, and things like that. It was pretty dynamic, and they were hitting really hard. And when you watch it, you could be like, hey, you know, I like that move right there. That's pretty cool. You could learn something. But at the same time, spiritually, it's completely not there at all. You know, and another thing is they're not getting paid any money. But that's keeping it more real. Because on the streets, when you're fighting on the streets, a lot of times it's not even about money. It's just like you're either in great danger, or it might just be over ego. But here you got these cage fighters, they're fighting for like millions of dollars. You got this McGregor guy who turned down, you know, said that he wants to retire because they didn't want to pay him $10 million to fight. Whereas these individuals are going hard at each other, and they're not making no money. If anything, people are making money off of them. Somebody videotaped it, now there's 2 million views on there. So it's like they're fighting hard for no money, and that keeps it more real. But at the same time, it shows just how unintelligent they are, because they're putting their lives and their lives at risk for no money, no pay. But for what? Because of their ego. So basically what they're doing is full of ego. And that's the opposite of what martial arts is supposed to be. You know, and with all these people watching, all these strangers watching, other students watching, it's putting so much pressure on both individuals to push it past their limits, to jeopardize each other's safety, to prove themselves. And it's not supposed to be like that at all. So this video is an example of how sparring should not be. You know, and I'm telling you right now, like, I would never agree to anybody to spar like that, the way that they did. You know, unless it's like my student, and then everything is controlled according to the level of comfort that I'm comfortable with, and the level of comfort that they're comfortable with. And there would never be like bunch of people watching. It'll be videotaped, and then, you know, if I'm satisfied with the video, then it'll be posted, you know, for learning purposes, also for artful purposes. You know, but if people come to me out in the streets, and I will never give permission for anybody to hurt me, but if they come at me and they try to hurt me the way that these people are trying to hurt each other there's absolutely no rules from me. I'll do what it takes to survive that situation. If it involves drawing my firearm, then that's what I'm going to do. If it involves taking out my knife and using it, that's what I'm going to do. You know, if it involves me choking someone to death, that's what I'm going to do. I mean, martial arts, the real martial arts, is not meant for exhibition in the way that they're doing. You didn't see Bruce Lee fighting Chuck Norris for real and putting Chuck Norris in the hospital purposefully, you know, to gain people's attention and respect. Bruce Lee made a choreographed fight with Chuck Norris. They kept all this type of sparring behind closed doors because it's nobody else's business. You know, that's how you're supposed to do it when it comes to like this type of training. You know, and like martial arts is always towards health. is always towards safety. It's about preserving your life. It's about living longer, healthier, being healthier. It's about respect. It's about learning together, working together. Martial artists should not be killing each other. It's like police officers killing each other instead of like apprehending criminals. Doesn't make sense. One department against another department. Let's see who's better. It's not supposed to be like that. Police officers are supposed to work together to basically fight against the criminals, to apprehend the criminals. Martial artists, no matter from what school, are supposed to work together, respect each other, learn from each other, to promote something positive within the martial arts, and this is not a representation of that. You know, that's my feedback on it. You know, and this is something where everybody could learn from, and I hope that we make the right decisions when we train, because this is a very poor example of sparring. Just like the cage fighting is a very poor example of sparring. Boxing, same thing, very poor example of sparring. I'm trying to set a new standard to show a safer, more scientific method of sparring that will keep you safe, but yet very effective. You know, it's kind of like people that want to get better at firearms, and then they know how to conduct that training very safely while learning and progressing. You know, it's about being like a scientist. You use your mind and you train intelligently to improve, but not to sustain this type of damage for egoistic purposes. So that's my feedback.